All right, so welcome to the June 2024 walkthrough for the Algebra 2 regions. We're going to go ahead and get started with the first one, and we start off strong, right? So the first thing that you should do is you should always go through and highlight or circle the ones that we have covered in units 1 through 3, um, or that you can do with the calculator from Algebra 1. So the first one is equivalent to, and we know that we can use the store button with this just to refresh your memory about how to do that, right? So I always use 2.1 in my video keys. We're going to store it into X, hit enter, and then you're going to plug in the original. So X plus 3, close parentheses, and again, you should be doing this along with me. Don't just watch me do this. Plus 4, parentheses, X plus 3, close parentheses, minus 5. We're going to hit enter. So our target number that we're looking for is 41.41. And you're going to plug in each of the answer choices to see which one gives you that same answer. So if you plug in the first and the second one, the third and the fourth, you'll see that the only one that matches is the second one, and I'm just going to prove that to you. X plus 8, close parentheses, X plus 2, and I get the same answer, 41.41. Nothing else will give me that same answer if I store in the number 2.1 in for X, okay? Question number 2, you should also be able to do this. Solution, you're going to plug this under Y1, plug this under Y2, and how did I know that? You're going to see where does f of x equal g of x, okay? So we're going to go to y equals right here, and we're going to alpha y equals to get our fraction bar into the calculator, 5 over x minus 3. And then for the second function, we're going to do 2 parentheses 1.3 close parentheses to the x. All right, and I'm just going to hit graph to make sure that I can see the point of intersection. So there's the first one in blue, and the second one looks something like this. Okay, so it looks like about 3 to 4. So I'm just going to hit second trace, right? Second trace. Option number 5 is intersect. And I'm going to go to around where it is and hit guess again. See if it'll let me do it. Okay, anytime it doesn't work, try it again. Second, so I'm going to quit. We're going to do second trace again, option number 5. And what I should do is move over to the point that it is closest to. Yeah, so it is closest to about there. Enter, enter, enter. And now it should give me an answer. So 3.89 something something. Cool, that rounds to about 3.9. Which equation is graphed? You could definitely do this in the calculator. Go to y equals and type and see. So even though we didn't do this, you could definitely graph each of these and see which one matches. So for example, this is what I mean. I'm going to clear this and clear this. I want to make sure that my mode is in radian mode, and it is, and that's the first thing I want to check. And go to y equals and type in -3 sine, and then alpha y equals option number 1 x, no, that's not x, it's pi over 3, and then we put our x, close our parentheses, and then it's plus 5. Okay, so to make sure that I have my calculator with the same window, okay, what I mean by that is what's my x's, right? My x is from 0 to, it looks like about 12. So my x goes from 0 to 12. And then my y's are from, it looks like from -2 to 10. So I want to make sure that my window in my calculator matches. So I'm going to go to my window and I'm going to put those numbers in, right? So x, forgive me, x goes from 0. The highest number is going to be 12. And again, the reason why I'm doing this is to make sure that it matches exactly. So -2, and then my highest number is 10. And now when I hit graph, I see something that looks like this. Okay, I can see that, right? This matches, starts at 5, which my calculator starts at 5 as well, and then it goes up. Yep, this looks like it matches pretty much exactly, and you should plug in the other ones just to make sure. But number 1 is our answer, okay? Question number 4, we should also circle this. So the first 4, we haven't eliminated anything yet. Solution, again, you're going to go to y equals and you're going to type these in. So y equals x squared minus 24. So we're definitely going to have to change our window here. Let me just clear that, sorry. Clear it. So x squared minus 24. And then I'm going to go to my y equals again and go x minus 12. Okay, so now I have to change my window because look at these numbers, right? Negative, it looks like -4 to, there's some -4, there's some -33. Okay, so let's go ahead and change our window again. So our x min, let's make it like -10. Our x max, the highest number that we have is +4, so I can leave that there. Cool. In our y min, I don't have any positives, but I see -33 is my smallest. X, my highest is 0. So let's see what that gives me. And all I did is I looked at the answer choices. Oh, that's my dog. Forgive me. Hold on, hold on. All right, she's done thinking that somebody was going to come murder us. So there are two solutions. It says which point is in quadrant 3. So I see the point in quadrant 3, which is where I'm at. So second trace, option number 5 is intersection, just like before. I'm going to hit enter, 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 and it's going to give it to me. -3 comma -15. So that is answer choice 2. Okay. For which equations will the value of s equals 4 make the statement an identity? Yeah, I could see us being able to do this, right? So you're going to put s is 4 and you are going to store in any number for x. So what is my number right now? Let me clear out of this. Let's go back and get my 2.1 into x because my calculator now has changed it. So I still want that. So I'm going to put in my first function. So parentheses 2x minus 3. I'm going to close that. Oh, there we go. Sorry. While she was freaking out, I plugged in my squared, and then I'm going to do the same thing for the other side, which is 4x squared minus, now look, it says 3sx, right? But they want us to take s and put 4 there. So 3 times 4, and then x. Cool, and then we have plus 9. So we want to see, is this equal to 1.44? And it is. Okay, so number choice 1 works. So right now, this is wrong and this is wrong because choice 1 definitely works. Now we have to check choice 2. Okay, I think you get the point, but let me just pause. And I just went ahead and took the liberty to do the second one. Okay, so now the left side, the 0.01 is not equal to the right side, which is 1.681. So this does not work, right? So the second one does not work, so it's 1 only is my answer choice. Okay. Question number 6 in this one, which can be modeled by an exponential regression. So how I showed you to do this is to go to stat, you go to edit, and you type the numbers in. I'm going to pause while I do. All right, and once you plug the numbers in, it says exponential regression. So I'm going to hit stat, I'm going to go over to calc, and I'm going to find expreg, which is this right here. Cool. And I'm just going to hit enter, enter, enter. And here is where I'm going to put this into y, so I want to be able to see it when I hit y equals. So you hit vars, go over to y vars, function, and function, hit enter, enter. And so what that did is it took this equation and it put it into my y equals. All right, cool. So now let me get rid of this. Let's clear that. All right, so now it says how much bacteria would be present after 8 hours. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit second graph, and I'm going to look what the number is across from 8. So the number across from 8 looks like it is 167.88. That rounds to about 168. Okay. So the key thing here is expreg, and then to look at what is the number after, in the calculator, what is the number across from 8? X is 8. The Y value is 167.88, so we need to round it. Okay. So question number 6 was also the one that we could have done. Question number 7. Okay, so here I told you guys that whenever you see a question like this, you should always make sure that you underline the word completely, because they're going to try to trick you. Like for example, this is not going to be our answer because x squared minus 9 can be factored more, and this is not going to be our answer because x to the third minus 9x can be factored more as well. Okay, so let's figure out what our answer is. I look at all of these and I see that x is my greatest common factor. So what's left? X to the third plus 4x squared minus 9x plus 36. Cool. Whenever I do this and I have four terms, I'm going to split it down the middle, factor the left, factor the right. So I can take out an x squared here, and what's left? An x plus 4. That means there's going to be an x plus 4 in here. So what's going to make this true? That looks like it's going to be negative 9. Cool. Yep. And so now I have x squared minus 9 and x plus 4. Don't forget this little x that's in front. So they want you to pick, right? They want you to, that looks like automatically right now. Okay, boom. They're trying to trick us. So now the x squared minus 9, like I said before, can be factored. What can it be factored into, right? It can be factored into x plus 3 and x minus 3. The x plus 4 comes down, and then the x comes down. So which answer choice matches with that? That is choice 2. Okay, so that is our answer. All right. Solution set. Again, you can use y1, y2 here, see where they meet. This might be a good one for us to do on the calculator just to make sure. And if you need help to do this algebraically, I definitely will. But x plus 1, go to my y2 and type in square root. So exactly what's there for x plus 25. All right, and I'm going to hit graph. Oh, it's already from the window from before. So let it do its thing once the calculator starts working, and I'm going to hit zoom, option number 6, which is standard. So now I can actually see it, and it looks like it's going to be 6 and only one answer. So 6 is our answer. Okay, this right here means no solution. So if you see either this or like a O in the with a line through it, that means no solution. That means both of them don't work. How do you do this by hand, right? You square both sides, so you're going to get 4x plus 25 is equal to x plus 1 squared, and then you FOIL that out, so you're going to get x squared plus 2x plus 1 is equal to 4x plus 25. Move everything over to one side, you're going to get x squared minus 2x minus 24 equals 0. Double bubble here, equals 0. So you're going to get x minus 6 and x plus 4 equals 0. Set them both equal to 0. So x plus 4 equals 0 and x minus 6 equals 0. X equals 6 makes this true, and x equals negative 4 makes this true, but we know that the negative 4 does not work. Okay, so the only answer is x equals 6. This answer is called extraneous. Extraneous. That means it's the one that didn't work. All right. So far right now, numbers 1 through 8, we could definitely do. Number 9 is an Algebra 1 question. I'm going to just show you what this means. It says, which translation of f of x, so f of x is the function that's on the graph, would have imaginary roots, okay? Imaginary roots are where the graph does not cross the x-axis. Do you see that? Or it could look like this. So let's see what we give that, okay? This here means you're going to take, you see this is parentheses? That means it's going to be 5 left or right. And this is going to be the opposite of what you think. So you'd think it's to the right 5, but this is really to the left 5. So if I take this function and move it to the left 5, it's going to look something like this. That's still going to have real roots. It's still going to cross the x-axis. Even if I move it to the right 5, it's also going to still have right 5. I can't write. It's still going to also have 2 roots, right? It's going to be somewhere over here. It's still going to have 2 roots. However, if I move this function up 5, right, this is at 2, it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Our function is going to look something like this. It's going to be up here. Everything's going to be moved up 5. So this is going to move up. This is going to move right. Everything's going to move up. So if it's moved up 5, it's going to have imaginary roots, right? It's not going to cross the x-axis at all. So the answer is what we have right here. this means up 5, and then this means down 5. Okay. All right, and again, that's from Algebra 1. Solutions, again, you could store this into the calculator, um, plug this in, hit enter, and then plug this in and see if they're the same. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do that if that's okay. So um, alpha y equals, to get our fraction in the calculator, then we have 2 over 3. I'm plugging in option number 1, and then instead of plus or minus, I'm just going to use the plus 1. Alpha y equals, again, option number 1. I have radical 2 over 3, and then I have my I, which is second dot, and I'm going to store this into x. Okay, so now this is my answer choice. So now I'm going to plug in everything that's on the left side right here. So I'm going to plug in 3x squared minus 4x plus 2, hit enter. So I have 0 here, and then I'm going to plug in 2x minus 3 here. And if this is the same number, which it's not, right, so then it's not choice 1. That is not correct. If I plug in the second one, so I have 1 plus or minus, I'm just going to do the plus 1. Alpha y equals option number 1. Come on. There we go. Option number 1. And then I'm going to do radical 6 over 3. And then I'm going to put my I, second dot. And I'm going to store this in for x. Hit enter. And then I'm going to go up, because I'm lazy, and grab the 3x squared minus 4x plus 2. Hit enter. Okay, so I have that answer, and I'm going to plug in 2x minus 3, and I'm going to hit enter. And look, do you see how it gives me the same answer? That means that the correct answer is choice 2. Okay. All right. Question number 11. So this one is triples every 10 hours. So this is similar to like Half-Life. So we do whatever we start with. So we start with 1,000. It is tripling every 10 hours. So the time we don't know, right? And this gets divided by its tripling. That, remember Half-Life? So that number, whatever that is, goes at the bottom. So we look for the one that matches that, and that is choice 4. Okay. So 1 through 11 right now, we are in good shape. We've circled all of them. Question number 12 is something that you can do. It's from Algebra 1. So as soon as you see this recursive, you have to have something that says an minus 1 or an plus 1. Okay. So 1 and 3 are not even recursive. So they are wrong. And then it says the initial amount is 5,000, which both of them say that. And then it says in an account that earns 3.5% annual interest, right? So this 3.5% gets added to 100% because it's growing. So that is 103.5%, which as a decimal is 1.035. And so since it's growing, the $5,000, you're going to take 5,000, and to get your next number, right, your AN term, which is here, we're going to take the previous number and we're going to multiply it by 1.035, not 0.035. So the correct answer is 4 because it's growing. If you multiplied a number by, like if you multiplied 5,000 by 0.035, it would not grow. It would get smaller, and that's not true because it says interest and there's an investment, so we want our money to grow. Okay. Here's an equivalent question, so you can take this and plug this into the calculator. How do we plug this into the calculator? Let me show you. So what's my x here? All right, so let's change that. So let's take my 2.1, my faithful 2.1, store it into x. So now I'm going to plug it. So now I have an x and a y. So I'm going to plug a different number, 4.7. Cool. I'm going to store that in for y, and I get y by doing alpha 1. You see it in green there? So now I'm going to plug in 2x and then my y. And then this is squared. Okay, exactly what's there, you're going to type that in. And then it says third root, so you're going to hit math, option number 4. So that gives us our third root. And then we do x squared and we do y. That's not y. There we go. And then now I'm going to match. So my correct answer is going to equal 254 point something, 853. So I'm going to see which one matches to that. Let's go ahead and type in the first one. So 2x to the, right? I have a fraction here. So alpha y equals option number 1, 5 over 3. And then I'm going to go here, go to the right, and then I'm going to do my y to the, and it's going to be 7 over 3. So alpha y equals option number 1, 7 over 3, and boom, they are the same. Okay. So that is the first 13 questions that we could do right now. We could have done everything just by learning units 1, 2, 3. Question number 14. Which statements must be true? So as soon as you see is a factor, you should think of remainder theorem. Um, and so let's remember what remainder theorem is. So we can take the second choice right here, right? We can plug in 0 without even doing anything with remainder, and we can store it in for x. So negative 2, store in the 0 to the third, minus 11 times 0 squared, minus 12 times 0, plus 9. Okay, so all of this part right here is going to give me 0, because 0 to any number times negative 2 is still going to give me 0. So this is really 0 plus 9, which is equal to 9. And if you didn't know that, just use the calculator, no biggie. Okay, so this number 2 is definitely true. Okay, so all of them have number 2 in it, so there's nothing to get rid of. All right, so now let's keep going. All right, let's keep going and figuring out if anything else is true. So it says x minus 3 is a factor. So remember, remainder theorem says x minus 3 equals 0. Add 3 to both sides, so I get x is equal to 3, right? So I'm going to take my 3, I'm going to store it in for x, hit enter, and I'm going to plug in the top. So negative 2 x to the third, go to the right, minus 11 x squared minus 12x plus 9. Okay, and I'm going to hit enter. So do you see that number, negative 180? That number does not equal 0. Therefore, x minus 3 is not a factor. Why? Because the remainder here, if I factor it, I get negative 180, and negative 180 does not equal 0. So x minus 3 is not a factor of k of x. So let's see if the second part, so we know that 1 is definitely not true, so 1's not there. So is 3 true? Okay, so k of x divided by x plus 2 has a remainder of 5. So let's see, same thing, right? X plus 2, set it equal to 0, switch the sign, x equals negative 2. So I'm going to take my trusty calculator, do negative 2, store that in for x, cool. And then I'm going to go up here and I'm going to grab my function. And if I get 0, if it has a remainder of 5, then statement 3 is true. Cool. So 3 is true, right? It has a remainder of 5. That's true. We just proved that. And option 2 is true. So choice 3 is our answer. So that is 14 questions. Right now we are passing the regions, okay? But let's keep going. To prepare, it says can best be modeled. So we can take this function right here, right? And we want to see which of these functions matches it. We want to see which one is the same thing as it. So you go to your calculator, go to y equals, clear what's there, and I'm going to type in my function. So 150 parentheses 1.02, close parentheses. We don't use t, we use x. And then you plug in each of the choices to see which one gives you the same one. I know the answer is 4. I don't want to waste time plugging in the rest of it. You should, because on the regions you will not know what the correct answer is, right, until you do it. But I just want to show you this. So 283, let's close those parentheses, to the, and this is 7t, so we're going to do 7x. And when you go to your second graph to your table, do you see how these numbers are the same? Y1 and Y2 are exactly the same. So I know that choice 4 is correct. Okay, nothing else will work. So that's 15 questions right now that we could get right. Question number 16, we did not do anything like that, so you're going to guess on the day of the regions if this is it. Question number 17, even though I have not shown you this, this is more like There is some geometry here. You might have learned this in Algebra 1, but I'm going to show you this if that's okay, right? So it says sine theta is equal to 7 over 25. All right, so I'm going to go to my calculator. The opposite of sine is second sine. If you learned this, great. If you don't, no big deal. And I'm going to do 7 over 25. I'm going to hit enter. Okay, so now this is my function. And then it says, what is the value of tan theta? So I'm going to do tan. I'm going to go up and grab this, and I'm going to hit enter. You see that number? And if I change it to a fraction, math frac, it's going to give me 7 over 24. Okay. All right. So this is the one new thing that you're going to need to know. Okay. In quadrant 1, here's quadrant 1, here's quadrant 2, here's quadrant 3, and here's quadrant 4. So notice I'm not circling this question as one of the ones that you could do, but we are in quadrant 2. And in quadrant 2, our x's are negative and our y's are positive. Okay? So that means that tangent in this quadrant, so this, our x is the same thing as cos, and our y is the same thing as sine. Our tangent is equal to sine over cos. So a positive divided by a negative is going to be a negative number. So our correct answer is negative 7 over 24, because in this quadrant right here, tangent is negative. Okay. We're going to skip number 18. That is not one of the ones that we learned, even though it's pretty straightforward to do. Question number 19. We definitely should circle this. So it says for the function, find the inverse. Okay. So d of x is the same thing as y equals the cube root of x plus 2. Okay, so inverse means take x and y and switch it. So I'm going to do the cube root of y plus 2. Okay, none of those have that answer, so I have to get the y by itself. So how do I get rid of the cube root? Okay, I get rid of the cube root by cubing. They're opposites. So whatever I do to the right, I do to the left. So I get x to the third is equal to y plus 2. I'm almost done, right? Subtract 2 from both sides. Cool. So I get y is equal to x to the third minus 2. And that is choice 4. Okay. All right. Question number 20. Given blah, 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 and f of 3 equals 0, which value satisfies? Okay. So let's see what we have to do here. It says that 3 f of 3 is equal to 0, which values satisfy f of x is equal to 0. So if I take, see the best way to explain this to you. All right, so if I plug this into the calculator, which I did, right, if I go to y equals right here, and I go to my table to find out where my zeros are, you can see that negative 4 and 3 work. Okay, so negative 4 and 3 work. Negative 3 does not work and 4 does not work. Okay, so I know it's not 2 and 4. All right, so now the difference between 1 and 2 is, you see how the difference between 1 and 3, choices 1 and 3, are that the choice 3 has 3i. So what I did to figure this out is I went to my calculator and I stored in negative 3i. You see how it says plus or minus negative 3i? So I stored it into my calculator and then I typed in my function and look what it gave me, 0, right? It says which of these satisfies 0. So now I'm going to go back. So I know that negative 3i works. I want to store 3i into my calculator. Store in for x, hit enter. And now I'm going to go up and grab my function. And if I hit enter and I get 0, my answer choice is 3. Okay. All right. Question number 21. We did do something like this. You do need to know that profit is equal to revenue minus cost. So R of x minus C of x. Okay, so here they're telling us that it says which of the following below represents the cost function. So the P of x is negative 15x squared plus 600x plus 60 is equal to, we are looking for C of x, but they gave us R of x is negative 0.4x squared plus 130x plus 1200. And then we had to find out what C of x is. Okay, so we're going to move everything over to one side. This is the easiest way to do this. Let's get that C of x by itself. So plus 0.4x squared plus 0.4x squared. Then I do minus 130x minus 130x, and plus 1200. Plus 1200. Okay, so cancels, cancels, cancels. So I have c of x is equal to whatever this is equal to, right? So I have 14.6x squared minus 470x plus, oh, my bad. This is plus 1200. So this is supposed to be minus 1200. This is supposed to be minus 1200. So this is going to be 1140 plus 1140 as our answer. Okay. Um, the answer that this is going to give you when you actually do it is going to be, you could also have negative 14.6 x squared plus 470x minus 1140 equals c of x. Both of those functions will work, and you have to see which one matches with that. And the one that matches is choice 3. 14.6x squared minus 470 plus 1140. Okay. It says, what is the remainder? So here, look, another remainder theorem, right? So x minus 2 equals 0, x equals 2. Let's store that into the calculator. And you're looking for the remainder. I think we've done this enough. The remainder is 29. Okay. Question number 23. So for this one, you have a parabola, vertex, and focus and vertex question. So we want to see what is going to be our correct answer here. So this is similar to the one that we did before. So what I did is I went to my sheet of graph paper and I plugged my function in. I want to get it in the form y equals 1 over 4p x minus h squared plus k. Okay, that way I can see what the focus and the directrix are, well, the vertex is and what the p is. So let's do this. Okay, let's get my y by itself, divide everything by 12, divide everything by 12. That allows us to cancel this out. So I have y plus 1 is equal to 1 over 12 x minus 4 squared. Okay, and then I minus 1, so I get y is equal to 1 over 12, which is 4 times, right? I'm looking for my p here. So 4 times 3, so I know that p is equal to 3. And I have x minus 4 squared plus, no, minus 1. All right, so there's my function. So that means that my h and my k, my h equals and my k equals, okay? For the first one, I'm going to flip the sign. So the opposite of negative 4 is 4. And I'm going to keep this one, which is negative 1. So that means that my vertex is at 4 comma negative 1. Okay, so let me go ahead and graph what this is. That way I can see it visually. I will show you to do this visually. So 4 comma negative 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, negative 1 right here. This is my vertex. Okay, I know that it's going to be at 3, the focus. So now my P is positive. This is positive, which means that my parabola is going to be facing up. It's going to be something like this. So 3 units away from here, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, is going to be where my focus is. So my focus is going to be at 4 comma 2. All right. And then my directrix is going to be 3 units below, right? So 1, 2, 3, this is going to be where my directrix is. So my directrix looks like it's going to be at negative 4, okay? So my focus is 4 comma 2, my directrix is negative 4. Let me go back to my question. We're almost done with the multiple choice. This is good, this is good. All right, so my vertex is not at 4, 2, right? That's where my focus is. So it's not choice 1. The focus is not at 4, negative 1. It's at 4 comma 2. We just found that out. Okay. Directrix at y equals negative 4. That is correct. And it says 4 units between the focus and directrix. That's not true. Our p is 3. So it's supposed to be 3 units. So our answer that makes sense is choice 3. So 23 is one that you could have done. All right. Question 24. This is very similar to the other question that we did. Okay. Total. So you're going to use this formula, Sn equals A1 minus A1 R to the N all over 1 minus R, okay? Are they always going to do this for question number 24? No. In the last two that we did, though, it was. Okay. So it's 10 miles. So our A1 is 10. Cool. It's planning to increase by 9%. So 9% plus our 100% is going to be 109%, which as a decimal, this is 1.09. So our rate is equal to 1.09. What else do we know? It says at the end of the 15th week. Okay, so our N is going to be 15. All right, so we have enough to be able to do this. So S15, right, the total number of miles that he would have written is going to be the start, which is 10 minus 10 again, times our rate, which is 1.09 to the 15 power, all over 1 minus 1.09. This whole thing goes into the calculator and we get 293.609. Okay, so that is part one of our multiple choice of our regions. Let me just count real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So that is 20 out of 24 multiple choice questions. 20 times 2 is equal to 40 points. We would be well on our way to like a 76 at this point. This is about a 76% of our regions. So great job, 36 minutes.